welcome to a new video that I'd like to make a monthly tradition on this channel, and it's going to be a week-long progress video vlog. So instead of being a vlog that's centered around a specific project I'm working on, it's going to be centered around everything I'm working on that week, and I'll share a little bit of footage from every day about what I'm doing that day. Hopefully it'll be more interesting than my regular vlogs because I'm going to be going over a lot of different techniques in a single week instead of just focusing on the techniques that a single project requires. Like this week I'm doing a lot of beading. I have a headpiece I want to finish. I have a half bonnet that I'm making. I have a Civil War era dress that I have to hem and finish. I want to get photos taken this week, so I have to make sure that 3 projects are finished and prepped for those. I'm fitting a dress, I have 30 eyelets to sew, I have some projects I want to get planned. So I don't know how much of everything I'm going to be able to show you guys and how much I will remember to show you, but I'm going to do my best and hopefully it'll be interesting and give you a little peek into my week. Like my previous video logs, there's no footage of me actually sewing, it's just me talking about what I'm working on and what I've done that day, and there's not going to be any slice of life type of stuff in this. I'm not going to be showing you what I'm eating or where I'm going or any of the stuff that vloggers usually do, because it's not about my day, it's about what I'm working on. So I think that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. It isn't the most exciting thing on my to-do list, but I think I'm going to start off the day by finishing this dress. If you've been following my recent The Making of videos, you'll have seen this. And I sewed sleeves onto it, and I really hated the sleeves, so after I got the skirt on, I decided to tear them off and to instead sew the fur directly onto the armhole. And I'm going to leave it sleeveless. So I've got one side of the fur done, and now I just have to sew the other side on. I just sewed the fur on with the whip stitch, and I think it looks pretty nice. So I've drafted the headpiece for the Civil War era cap. And it's based off a bonnet photo I found on Pinterest. The only solid part of the headpiece are going to be those 2 bands. So I'm a little concerned about how it will keep its shape, but I'm going to give it a shot because I think if it works, it'll look really pretty. The next step is cutting it out of interfacing and then sewing wire into the interfacing. So I think I'm going to do that, and if it works, then I get to pick lace and materials to use on it, which will be fun. So I got the wire sewn in, and I think it's going to work. It looks like it fits okay. It's a little bit big, but I will be wearing this over a wig, so I want it to be a little oversized. This is the fabric I'm going to use to cover this portion because it's opaque and it matches the dress. And now I have to pick lace to fill in this part with. I think I'm just going to use a couple gathered laces sewn together to give that a really pretty look. But I have to decide what type to use first, and it's quite a big decision because I have a lot to choose from. So I'm going to sift through this and try and pick something that I think will go nicely with the dress. These are the laces I've chosen. The one on the left is a lace collar, but unfortunately there are some stains on it, so it can't actually function as a collar. And then there's this piece of lace, which is only 18 inches long, which isn't enough to use it in a dress. So both of these are a perfect candidate for being repurposed into a headpiece. I also have a little bit of lace trim over there that matches, and I might trim the front edge with that, but I haven't decided yet. And they're all in this oatmeal color, which matches the dress really nicely. So I'm going to try and figure out how to place these together, and then I'll show you what it looks like when they're sewn on. The lace is all sewn on, and now it's time to turn this into bias tape, and then I will cover the interfacing so it looks nice and pretty. And hopefully I can get this finished tonight. So I got all the bias tape sewn on, and then I sewed up the edge of one of the ties, which is also created out of bias tape. It just extends past the edge of the interfacing. But my neck is getting kind of sore, and I have some photo editing and some blog work to do. So I think I'm going to leave this alone for now and then get it finished tonight. Overall though, this has been a really easy project, and I'm really pretty happy with how it turned out. It's not the prettiest or the most elegant or shiniest headpiece that I've made, especially recently, but the dress that this is made to go with isn't a frilly over-the-top gown, so I really don't need to make the headpiece over the top, though it is a little bit frilly. I just couldn't resist. But anyway, I'm going to go for now, and I will report back later tonight and show you what I'm working on then. I finished the Civil War era headpiece, and I'm very happy with it. I'm excited to get the wig that goes with it styled tomorrow and to try it all on together and make sure it looks good for the photos I want to take on Sunday. And in the meantime, I'm going to move on to hemming this veil. It's getting a little bit late, so I'm going to work on this until I think 9:30, and then I'll go downstairs and take care of the puppies and hand sew some eyelets and do some beading and some stuff I can do in front of the TV. But right now, I'm working on this, and I'm going to go ahead and put this away. It's time to go downstairs. This is the box I'm bringing with me. I've got thread, grommet pliers, the beading I'm working on, and I need to add some sequins to this too. So let me get those. I think I'm mostly going to be working on sewing the eyelets tonight, but in case I want to do beading, I will pop those in there. And that's everything I need to keep me busy for a couple hours until it's time for bed. So I'm going to get working on that, and I will talk to you guys and show you what I'm up to tomorrow. So I'm off to a bit of a late start, but I'm going to work on the veil and hopefully get the hem turned over once again so it's nicely finished and can be sewn onto the headpiece. I predict that this will take 90 minutes to 2 hours because silk chiffon is a pain in the butt and I have to use a small needle and a small whip stitch, and I think it's just going to get tangled a lot and be a very slow process. I'll update you when it's done, whenever that happens to be. It's much later in the day now. I'm sorry I haven't filmed much. I've just been downstairs doing hand sewing and being kind of a lazy butt. It's been a really gloomy, dark day. And even though I like gloomy, dark days, I just wasn't feeling motivated or enthusiastic about things today. But I did get a couple things done. I finished the hem of the veil and then I sewed it onto the hennin. So this is complete. I was originally going to do a little bit of beading around this top edge, but I don't think it needs it. I think I'm just going to call it quits here and say that it's done. I'm really pretty happy with it. The only thing I would change is the color of the veil. I don't think it matches perfectly, but for now it's fine. I got quite a bit checked off my to-do list today, so I'm feeling pretty happy about that, even if the day wasn't overall very productive. I got out my Civil War era dress and I tried putting it over top of my farthingale, as well as 2 other petticoats to help build it out. And even though the shape isn't perfect, I'm actually really happy with it, and I think it's quite similar to the Civil War era dress shape. So I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna hem it according to the volume that this layered petticoat thing has. So I'll be taking it up about 2 inches in the front and 1.5 inches in the back. So I got this skirt hemmed and I got my needle threaded, so I'm going to go ahead and sew across this with a whip stitch, nothing too fancy. I've got Gold Rush on my laptop, and I've got Guinevere on my right, who currently has an infected anal gland and isn't feeling very well on her antibiotics, so she's sitting on the desk with me today. Look what's finished! I pinned the bodice onto the dress form just so I could see how it all looks together, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm really excited to wear it this weekend, so I'm super hoping that the weather will be nice. It's been pretty rainy here, but it says that it's going to be sunny on Sunday, so I hope that it is. So that's that piece. And I also finished my hennin, which I showed you last night. It's hanging up over there. And my final little productive thing, which I actually did last night, not today, is that I finished beading the waistband for my Burgundian dress. So I still can't assemble it because I haven't finished sewing all the eyelets for it, but this is definitely going in the right direction. It's not even noon yet, but I think my final goal for today will be getting the eyelets finished on the Burgundian dress so I can assemble the bodice and start working on the sleeves and all that good stuff. And the reason I'm not being more ambitious about my goals today is because I have a video that I have to make sure uploaded properly. I have a blog post to write, I want to update my portfolio page, and I also want to research 2 new projects. So I won't have a lot to show for it except maybe a few sketches if the research goes well. And I will talk to you guys later tonight or tomorrow. I'm working on something from the 1630s today, and right now it's just in the bodice stage. I got all the pieces boned, and then I got them covered with the taffeta. But I realized, okay, there were 2 things that happened. The first thing is that I accidentally got colored pencil on the outside of one of these pieces, which really wasn't good and I couldn't really seem to get it off even though I tried just about everything. But the other thing is that I've realized to get the bodice to sit the way I want, which is almost off the shoulder, I'm going to have to add a dart and take the top edge of the strap in a little bit. And I don't really want this dart to be visible on the front side of the material. So I can't actually add that dart with the taffeta already on there. So the stain was just sort of my motivation to actually tear off the taffeta and to add this dart, and then I will recover the pieces. Luckily I can leave the back piece alone, it's totally fine, but the two front pieces need to be recovered. So it's a bit of a setback. It's not something I'm happy that's happened, but I think it'll make the garment look better in the end. So that's what I'm going to do, and it's actually quite fun to tear it off because taffeta tears really easily. So I haven't used a seam ripper at all, I've just been ripping it, which probably isn't the best method, but it's kind of fun. And it's Monday, so I have quite a lot I want to accomplish today. I'm going to go ahead and finish sewing together this 1630s taffeta bodice. I got the front panels recovered and the edges turned over once again, so now I'm just binding the pieces together with upholstery thread, and they get bound there and they will get bound at the shoulder as well. Then I can try it on and figure out how it's going to close in the front, start figuring out what my beading pattern is going to look like, and I can begin work on the sleeves. So that's all stuff I would like to get done in the coming week, which means I have to finish this first. I'm also going to be finishing all the eyelets on my Burgundian dress. I only have one left to go, and sewing the 4 remaining eyelets on my velvet kirtle, which is a 16th century project, because I'm filming that project and the video about it is supposed to go up this Friday. It's mostly edited, but I still haven't filmed the final clip, so I need to do that today. I'm sorry I didn't film very much yesterday. My dad and I were taking pictures for most of the day, and then I was just editing them and being lazy and stuff like that. It was a really beautiful day, so we managed to photograph 3 different projects, and I'm really excited with how they turned out. By the time this video goes up, any of them have been posted. I will link them in the description box below. I finished the eyelets for the Burgundian dress, and then I sewed 3/4 of an inch away from the edge to create a guideline, and now I'm going to sew them onto the bodice, and let's hope that it fits. I think it will, but I'm always a little nervous before trying things on. I finished sewing the eyelet panels onto the bodice, and then I pinned the waistband on and tried it on. It doesn't fit perfectly right now, but I definitely think with a few little fixes, like adding darts right there, it'll fit perfectly. So right now I realized the waistband was too small, so then I just tucked fabric underneath this side of the collar and ended up making the bodice too small for the waistband. So I'm going to unpin that, instead add darts here. Will be really tiny darts, and I think it'll improve the fit, and it'll obviously improve how the waistband looks once attached. As much as I would love to do that now, I only have about 40 minutes until it starts getting really sunny. So I think I'm going to go ahead and sew the eyelets for the kirtle. I finished all the eyelets on my velvet kirtle, so now I can go ahead and edit that video and hopefully get the voiceover for it filmed today or tomorrow. So that'll be added to my weekly to-do list, along with a couple other things, since I pretty much accomplished everything on it for this week, so it's time to start a new one. But right now it's getting quite sunny, so I think I'm gonna go downstairs. I have a lot of editing to do, both of photos we took yesterday and of the video of making this, so that should keep me busy until the sun goes down a little bit and I can get back to actually sewing. So I managed to figure out the shoulder strap situation on the 1630s taffeta gown, but boy did I make a mess. I had to take it in 2 spots, 2 darts going in different directions, and then I also had to bind the strap to the back panel. So it looks really awful in that area, and if I felt like I had enough fabric to redo it, I probably would. The chemise is going to cover that. It has a little ruffle which will come over and cover the top inch or so. So I don't think it'll be visible, and I don't think it'll detract when it's worn. I'm definitely a little bit disappointed with how that looks. Last night I got started on the lacing panels, and unfortunately I didn't get very much done, but I think I'm going to try pinning them in to make sure that the bodice fits properly, and that should give me enough of a guide that I can drape and draft the sleeve pattern. And it's going to have paned sleeves or paned sleeves, depending on how you pronounce it, which is basically when you have a lot of small strips that are attached at the shoulder and attached to a band further down the arm, and then there are gaps in between the strips where you can see whatever is worn underneath it or whatever is used to line the sleeve. So each one of those little strips has to be hemmed by hand, And since taffeta is not a fun fabric to hand sew, it's going to take me quite a while. So I'd like to get started on those as soon as possible, and to do that I have to figure out the sleeve pattern. And I also need to figure out the sleeve pattern before making the chemise, since it'll be used as the lining for the sleeve and it will have the exact same shape, and it'll give the painted sleeves a little bit of volume and make them look all nice and pretty. Getting the sleeves drafted is the priority for this, and then hopefully I can get started on hemming them, but that will depend on whether or not I can get a good enough idea of how it fits with just these 4 eyelets done. I think I figured out the pained sleeve pattern. Unfortunately with these things you really can't realize how it looks until it's actually done. There isn't really a way to make a mock-up that will have the same amount of stiffness and volume and body as the chemise and as the taffeta will, without using actual taffeta and going through all the steps and making a wearable mock-up, which I don't really want to do because that'll be just as time consuming as making the real thing and potentially having to redo parts of it. So I'm gonna go with this. I have to get all the strips cut out, and then I have to iron the backs of them over, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. I got a whole bunch of the strips cut out and interfaced, and then I got the edges turned over. So now I just have to sew those down, and that'll take a while. I did the math, and I think it's going to take 10 strips per each sleeve. So that means 20 strips in total, and this is just 6 of them. And I feel like it's going to take a really long time. So I'm going to get working on this afternoon, and I'm also going to get some lunch, and I think I have a blog post to write. So now that I've edited the footage, I wanted to have a little moment of reflection upon the week. And I have kind of mixed feelings. I actually got everything on my to-do list crossed off this week. It was very productive if you look at it on paper. But I don't think the productivity was very exciting, and a big part of what I got done this week was photographing 3 projects and editing the photos of those projects. And that ate up my entire weekend, which is fine because it really had to be done, but Saturday and Sunday are the days I tend to focus on sewing the most. Since my parents are home to take care of the dogs, we usually have a lot of family together TV to watch, so I could get a lot of hand sewing done. Since I was editing photos on both of those days, none of that actually happened. I'm also just at an awkward stage with a lot of projects where the boring stuff had to be done so I can move on to the fun stuff. So I have bodices partially assembled that can't be tried on until eyelets are done. For the paint sleeves I was making, there was 8 hours of hand sewing before they even started to resemble something that could be turned into sleeves. So a lot of the things I was doing this week were very labor intensive, but not very interesting to look at. And I'm really kind of bummed about that. I don't think I picked a very good week to film. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to film this week as well, and I'm going to start it right here, because I think this week is going to be a lot more exciting, and hopefully it'll be a better view into what I get done in a week. I'm going to be making a skirt, I'm going to be hemming a skirt, I'm going to probably be doing some other stuff too that I haven't figured out yet because it's only Saturday. I'm still posting this one because not every week is super exciting, and I want to show that too because it's the truth. But anyway, let's talk about what I did actually get done. I finished my Civil War era project and got it photographed. I finished the bonnet for it, which I'm really happy with. I think it turned out really cute and it looks great with the dress. I finished my hennin, which I'm also really happy with. The only thing I don't love is the color of the chiffon, but it fits really nicely and I think the beading on it is lovely. I got the waistband for my Burgundian dress beaded, and I think it looks beautiful with the bodice. I'm really excited to get the skirt done and to get it all pieced together. I drafted a couple patterns and I got the pained sleeves cut out and the strips hemmed for my 1630s dress. I also finished my damask medieval dress and got the bodice for the 16th century kirtle done. So it was a productive week, but I don't think it was a very interesting week to watch, and I'm really sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed this video anyway, and I will talk to you guys next time. I hope you have a really great day!